Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Welcome to the new show, Building a New Africa. I am your host, Joshua Amatare, and I'm here with the incomparable Dr. Sunday Adelaja. Welcome, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Yep.
And it's such a pleasure to be here with you. Welcome to the maiden edition of this show. We're going to be talking about precise problems in Africa and how we can solve them. And of course, Dr. Sunday Adelaja is an expert and somebody who is very vast when it comes to changing nations. So we're going to be getting ideas from you as to how to get things done. And we're also going to be putting in place action plans so that people can begin to do things from today that would help to change the continent of Africa. Africa has about 54 countries, about 1 billion people in the continent, and then we have another 50 plus million in the diaspora. So we've got a lot of human capital, but for some reason, Africa is not where it's supposed to be. We're far behind Europe, we're far behind North America, we're far behind Asia. But a lot of people have been saying Africa has potential, but potential is not enough. There's a lot that has to be done to bring us from just being a country with potential to a country that has, or a continent that would fulfill its destiny. So I believe that this show would help to get us from where we are to where we want to be, at least one step at a time. So please, everyone watching us, invite your friends, any African you know anywhere around the world, tell them to come and join us on this show. We're going to be here every Thursday, same time from 7 p.m. Tell them to join us. Please share this video and, create a conversation wherever you are about this show, because we're going to really be talking about real problems and giving solutions that would make you a nation changer, a continent transformer. We're going to teach you how to start something from where you are right now to where you want to be. So, Pastor, this week we're going to be talking about some hot topics. We're going to be starting with hot topics in Africa. Right. There are some things that have been going on of late. Most of us have heard about the elections that are coming up in Nigeria, West Africa. Yeah. Next year, we're going to have one of the most fiercely contested elections that Nigeria has ever seen. Yeah. And we've got a lot of candidates on the ballot, a lot of a lot of people. It's almost like a congregation, and everybody thinks they have what it takes to run Nigeria and to get it out of the quagmire that it's in right now. But some people have expressed some concern, and they've said some specific things that I want you to address this evening. And some of them have said, we want to help Nigeria, but we don't have the political clout. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the foot on the ground. We don't have a ground game that will be able to get us to the level of the likes of the ruling party of PDP and APC. Yeah. So it's almost like if you don't belong to any one of these parties, you stand no chance. Yeah. And in a country of about 200 million people, we should be able to give everyone who is at least qualified an opportunity to run the country without compromising themselves, in quotes, or without having to join those who have already created a system for themselves, or somewhat of a cabal. Yeah. So can you tell us how someone who doesn't belong to one of the ruling parties can break through, all of what they have put in place to get across to the people and win an election in Nigeria or in any other African country? Because every country has their own form of PDP and APC ruling parties that everyone who wants to rule has to belong to. So, what do you think a person who is just probably a professor, a banker, a businessman, even a housewife who believes she wants to run the country, how do you think they can go from where they are to where they want to be without joining a major party?
First of all, I want to commend you.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
I want to commend your look and your elegance.
Thank you,
like
Pastor.
You are coming from is it Hollywood or Nollywood?
Yeah, Pastor.
There is a film they did recently in America that is very popular, but it's about Africa.
Is it Wakanda or?
No. Is it Wakanda?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wakanda.
Black Panther. Yes.
That's what it's called, Black Panther. Yeah. Why did you call it Wakanda?
That's the name of the city in the movie. Yeah.
I didn't watch it, but I just saw the trailer.
Yeah.
But,
it's called Black Panther.
But people are dressing like you there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like you are coming from that place.
Yeah, we're beginning to lead the world, Pastor.
And that's a good thing, because this particular program that we are doing, Building a New Africa, is projecting that particular image, that we want to build a new Africa. And if we want to be the new Africa, it is only proper for us to project it ourselves. So congratulations on the maiden edition of Building Africa. So everybody that is watching us, please go ahead and call all Africans, and we are going to be discussing very technical stuff, and from time to time political stuff. We are going to also be discussing practical things that will make us to be able to help our continent. So all the people that are watching us, wherever you are, please, we want to encourage you, go and look for fellow Africans and share this message in their inboxes, share them in the groups, and let them come in and see that, you will see that there is a difference in this program. We are going to be bringing in contemporary, futuristic solutions to the problem of African continent. So I want to encourage everybody to go ahead and share this message. Now, concerning the question that you asked, am I looking at the right camera?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, I was off. The Olena, ty говорила, что у меня было слышно. Я был отключен. Внимательно надо было бы. Сейчас только что включил. Теперь тише сделайте. Тише, а то будет фонить. Меня делайте тише. Дай ей вот это большой. А то делайте тише, чтобы не было. I'm sorry, guys. We just needed to make sure. I didn't know that my microphone was off. I was talking through his microphone because it was off. I think it should be okay now, right? Could have nesmotrichus. So, answering the question that Mr. Amatare asked, how can people, the question you asked is, how can people who don't have the clout, political clout, and who have not built an oligarchic party system, like the ones we have right now, APC, PDP, how could they have a chance? And because there are so many people right now in Nigeria that really wish to come forward with their proficiencies, with their expertise and skills. They want knowledge. They want to come forward and offer their services. Well, I think the reason why those people are not going to have any chance this time, and the reason why it is still going to be PDP or APC that will win, is because the way we win elections in Nigeria and the way we look at political elections is totally different from my own understanding of how it should be. In my own understanding of how elections should be, elections shouldn't be about electing the most eloquent person. Elections shouldn't be about electing the most charismatic or the one that could convince people, the most popular person. And that's, maybe it's popular, it could be popular, but there is something about elections all over the world, especially in Africa, that is not good enough, that we need to change. And what I'm thinking is this. The reason why all these young people, no matter how many they are, maybe they are 40 or who are running for president, would not go through, is because they want to run the same way all these other people have been running. They want to contest on the same, with the same approach that these people are using. For example, they come on here and talk and say, I declare for the president. I am going to be a better president than the incumbent. I am going to rule you better. Okay, I am going to manage your resources better. So they are telling me they are not bringing anything to the table apart from themselves. I'm just bringing myself to the table, and you have to believe me that I will do a better job than the other guy. On what basis should I believe you? Well, that's not even what I'm saying right now. All of them have personal achievements. So what I'm trying to say is that we must go from trying to elect African leaders based on just personal credentials. What would I rather do? I think the only person in all our political history that has gotten it right on how to win election in Africa easy was MKO Abiola. Even though I never voted for him, I didn't believe that Rescos was Plako. It's not Krupnam. I didn't vote for him, but what he did, he had the perfect ideology and the perfect model of winning elections. He had the perfect model of winning elections. And so he did a great job. What did he do? He spent 30 years of his life. He dedicated. He dedicated 30 years of his life to just doing good. Just doing good, Krupna. He was going to every nook and corner of Nigeria. And he was doing a lot of charity work for the Christians, doing a lot of charity work for the Muslims. He was all over the place. He was everywhere. He had overwhelmed the country with his heart, with his credibility, with his believability, with his benevolence, with his kindness, with his love. He had covered the country, from north to south, east to west. He has covered the country with his love. He had touched almost everybody before he now declared that he was going to run for presidency. So the way I think that the future political leaders of Africa should be chosen is not by coming on stage to campaign and to say, I can speak louder than you, or come and debate with me. I will argue. I will do this. Those are talks. Come to the table like Abiola did with how you have touched me. How you have touched me. Not just how you have touched your community. I don't care how you have touched your community. Maybe you have touched your community. I have touched my community too. Other people have touched their communities. But I want you to tell me, you want to be the president of Nigeria. How have you touched the life of maybe not everybody, at least 50% or 30% or let's even say 20% of Nigerians in every geopolitical zone, in every local government, in every place. If you could convince me, you don't even need to convince me. You just be, as benevolent as necessary to ordinary Nigerians. Lift their burden, put food on their table. For example, if people like Dangote who would like to run for president, right now he's rich, but every Nigerian is not feeling his wealth. Or Emulemu or whatever. Emulemu was the name of that bank. Elumelu. Nobody is feeling their benevolence like that or that Abiola. But what I'm saying is that if I were Showore, Mogalu, Ezekwesili is better. She's closing, she's moving close, but not good enough. All of them are not good enough. I don't think that any one of them is good enough. Not Buhari. Buhari is better than others. Atiku tried, yes. Atiku tried. He was vice president, but he had businesses and even his own state is suffering. Atiku's state is, even the emir of his own state is telling people, don't vote Atiku. Because he has not touched the people of his state. He has not changed anybody's life. So he is better in the sense that he has money, but he's not using the money to better the life of ordinary people. So what I would say is that if I want to run, this is the way to win the election without struggle. I will first of all go and make sure I have a project in every local government. From me, not with federal government money. Because what they are now saying is that they are coming to the table to tell us, I will come and take federal government's money. I want to see what you have done without federal government's money. I don't know if you are getting it. Yeah. Because you are going to, if you want to convince me that you will do better than the other guy, you are going to use the same instrument and the same resource that one has. There is almost no way you will do better. If you are going to do better, it's going to be just a little bit better, that it will not be noticeable. But I want you to show me what you have already done with your own resources, with your own heart, with your own passion. You say you have relationship with the West, with the whole world. Harness your relationship with those people you say you know. Harness that relationship right now and improve our lives. You say you have knowledge, use your knowledge and get money and use it to better people's life. You say you have wisdom better than the other guy. Use that wisdom now. Well, do you have to get to the purse of Nigerians? Do you have to get to the oil money before you can do good? Do the good now with your own. You have the wisdom now. Hey, you are better than the other guy. Use that wisdom, koro. Go and use that wisdom here and now, and tell me what that wisdom has produced. Not for yourself and your family. You tell me I have my business. Hey, everybody has business. I am a professor. Everybody has professor. No, that's no problem. No, that's no problem. But what have you used that wisdom that you want to bring? You want to convince me that you are better than all the people who have been there? You are coming the same way they are coming. You are using the same talk like they are using. You are using the same instrument that they are using. But for me, if you really want to win election in Africa, go and forget about your agenda first of all. Put it aside. Prove to people that I don't need government's money to be good. I don't need government's money to be kind. I don't need government money to be benevolent. See my heart first. I am using my resources. I don't want to win an argument by speaking grammar or English. I don't want to come to stage and be proving that I'm more fluent or more eloquent than you. I want to come with the result I've done. People are saying, "Oh, I will build the road." What? Show me the roads you have built before you got in your village even, or anywhere before you come to be looking for money. Why do you need money of the federal government? It means you are still limited. You are going to be limited by that same money, because that same money is not going to be more than what we already have. And you say, "No, I will generate money." Hey, generate it before you come now. Make you generate it now before you get here, and do something with it. You say you have the wisdom to generate. Use it now. Prove it. No, they will be saying Nigeria has potential. That is all talk. Nigeria, use the potential yourself. Use the potential of Nigeria and do something that will convince me that you know what to do with the potential. If you don't come on that merit to me, if you don't come like that to me, they are going to do something, but nobody will feel the difference. It's not going to be better. But if anybody will do what I'm talking about, you don't need anybody's campaign. You don't even need to convince anybody that you are the man for the job. And that is why, even though Abiola came with the ticket of Muslim, he was still able to sweep the votes. Even though Abiola was a southerner, coming from as a Muslim southerner, coming from the south, from the west, he was still able to win all the states in the north. Even the local government of the opposing candidate, the opponent. He won the local government and the state. He won everything because he had been good to them. Everybody know him, what he has done. So you show me your benevolence. You show me your kindness. You show me your love for the country. Indeed. Why should you wait till I elect you before you now prove to me that you are good? It will be too late. We will have to endure you for the next 4 years. Why should we wait that you will manage? Why should I believe you that you will manage the economy better? No, I don't, I cannot believe you, because you will not manage it better, because your resources is going to be limited. Just like their own, the ones you want to replace has been limited. But you tell me how to create a new economy, money, without touching Nigeria's money. Then that will prove to me that yes, if you go there, if you are able to produce that much money without Nigeria's money, when you get there, you will do much more better. That's what I can believe.
Brilliant.
And then you have to prove to me that you are better than Dangote as well. You don't just know how to produce money, but you know how to also be kind to your neighbor and to every Nigerian like Abiola did. That's the way to win an election in Nigeria and any other African country.
Amazing. If I'm hearing you clearly, can we also say that political power is not what's needed to be able to influence a nation? Because most Nigerians and Africans, or even people around the world, they believe when I'm given the ability, or when I'm given power, when I'm given positional leadership, then I will be able to do good.
You are hearing me exactly right. And that is the problem that we all have. Why should you think that you need to get to a position of political power before you could do your country good? No, why are they all struggling to become that president? Okay, what is the difference now? Let me ask you. What is the difference between you now that has not been elected to be the president, and you that will be elected next time. It is the only difference will be the political power. So how would that change you to all of a sudden become a miracle worker that will provide for the country if you couldn't do it before? How would that political power will not do anything if you have not been able to do it without the political power. I mean, okay, how will you say it is you will say, okay, because I will have budget that time. But the other people who have been there before you had budget. And we need 10 times that budget. They couldn't do anything. You too couldn't do anything before you came. So you will be handicapped just like they have been handicapped. You will say, okay, I will have authority to be able to tell the military to do this, the whole country to do this. Well, those people also have the authority, but something is inhibiting them. Something is stopping them from making it to work. That same thing is going to stop you. So why don't you, without the political authority, why don't you use your own personal authority right now to already begin to make the country work with your own resources, even if it's not money? If you don't use media, use your wisdom, use your contact, use your passion, use your energy, any resource you have. If you have not done that, not just to do your own ministry or your own church or your own organization or your own business or your own school or your own, that's personal gain. What have you done to be able to really change the country and people to feel it? So it is not political power. Only those kind of people who have excelled in producing proofs and arguments, only they can now, convincingly multiply what they already have. You see, if you have zero, even if you multiply that zero by 1,000, it will still be zero. If I multiply by 1,000,000, it will still be zero. But you need to have some things that you have been able to produce from whatever you say you possess before, you'll be able to change a nation.
This is a groundbreaking idea, Pastor. And I see it as bad news.
Me, I just look at them.
I see it as bad news to those people listening to you who are presently running for office.
Yes.
Because they will say, he's just indirectly telling us that we stand no chance.
Yes.
Because we've not done any of the things that he has said. So I guess it will be smart for some of them to just pack up and go home at this point, right? Because what is the point running for office when you've not been able to do good and when you have not been able to even influence those on your street, which is a massive problem that we have. So all of you listening to us, please share this video. Invite people to come and listen to how to get things done in Africa, how to move Africa from where it is to where we want it to be. We are going to build a new Africa when we're able to actually, every single person, when they're able to go from place to place doing good before they have political power. Political power is not what validates you as a benevolent person, as an effective leader, as somebody who does good, as somebody who is kind-hearted. So thank you, Pastor, for that very insightful answer. And I believe this is going to go a long way to create a new generation of leaders who would actually start today doing good. Those of you who want to be president 10, 20, 50 years from now.
You got the formula now, huh?
Start doing good today. Start from your neighborhood. Start from your street.
Okay, let's even say that somebody is you are not a millionaire, you are not a billionaire or anything. But let's say you are an engineer, you are a computer programmer or something. Okay, why don't you develop a project or an idea or a business plan or just an idea of how to put computer in every classroom? And then go with that idea, go public or go fund go public, go to solicit, use your wisdom and idea connection.
Crowdsource.
Yes, and crowdsource that kind of money and put in every classroom in the country. Tell me if you will not be voted in. Or if you say you are not an engineer or you don't know, okay, do anything, you are a medical doctor. Okay, go and conduct free medical heart or eye or some medical something test for everybody on the country and everybody knows that it's you who did it. Tell me if you not be voted in. So it's not about money. You don't need that government money if you have the ability you claim to have. You don't need that, that position if you have the skills that you claim to have. Show us.
I see a lot of young people putting their resumes online these days, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and they say share it so that somebody would employ me. But like you've said in books like Money Won't Make You Rich, Only God Can Save Nigeria, what a myth. You don't actually need anybody to give you anything.
Yeah.
You have to bring what you've got to the table and make yourself so needed that you're indispensable.
Yes, sir.
And people will clamor for your leadership. They will clamor for your presence. They will clamor for your solutions, because there is nobody in the world. Human psychology is the same everywhere. People want what is better than what they presently have.
Yep.
And once you offer them something that they don't have, they will definitely follow you wherever you lead.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So thank you, Pastor. We can talk about this topic all day, but we have to keep going.
Yes.
So the next interesting thing that is going on in Africa right now that I want you to address is a concern that has been raised by a group of people.
Okay.
There is a country presently in Asia by the name of China,
Right.
that is investing billions of dollars in African countries.
Yes.
And what we're hearing from strategists is that they are planning to colonize Africa.
Yes.
Presently in South Africa, one of the languages that has been given the green light to be taught in schools is Mandarin.
Okay. In South Africa.
In South Africa today. In Zimbabwe, the Chinese people have taken a huge chunk of the society, or of the land in the country, and they now own it, and they're using it to trade and to do as they please. In fact, I was told that the Chinese have quarantined certain aspects or certain parts of Zimbabwe that nobody knows what's going on behind the walls they've built. But because it is theirs and they've bought it and they've paid for it, the government even is helpless. Nigeria has borrowed from the Chinese.
Yep.
So we're having a very serious...
And still borrowing.
And we're still in the process of borrowing.
Yes.
And the Chinese are spreading their tentacles
Yes.
all over the African continent. What can we do to make sure that in 20, 30, 50 years from now, we're not going to be slaves to the Chinese? Because they are so futuristic in the way they think. They are very strategic. And with the plans they've put in place, our leaders are falling into the traps and into the ploys that they have set up. So how do we safeguard ourselves today from becoming what we just got out of with the British? And in fact, some people are still suffering, from French colonialism. How do we save ourselves from falling into the same trap?
Well, if you talk to most young African people today, they will probably tell you that it's better we're colonized again.
Oh my God.
Than to be with these so-called African leaders who are just robbing us and not leading us anywhere.
Wow.
I'm sure, but people who, of course, who are thinking, who are matured, would not think like that. But because we know that, majority of people in any nation are just gray masses or biomasses. And those biomasses will still say, let them come and colonize us. The same people who said, yes, Trump is right, whereas something, a certain hole. Well, if they could say that Trump was right, they will also be ready and willing to give up themselves as slaves again and to give up their nations as colonies again. Because so for people to admit to that kind of confession or utterance and not challenge it and correct it, it means that those kind of people will still be ready and willing to give themselves up for colonization.
Means
but
mentally they are slaves.
Mentally they're still slaves, yes. So what will I say? What would be my own solution as to the China challenge? The first thing we have to realize is that we need China.
Well, that's one thing that I wasn't expecting to hear.
The second thing we have to realize is that the West, or the Western betrayal, has led to the to the elevation or arising of China, to the rising of China. China has risen thanks to the neglect of the West. I went to America one time, and I was in the same room with Hillary Clinton. I was in the same room with Bill Clinton, in the same room with so many senators and so many people from the American political elite. I asked them two questions because we were having discussion in a green room. And the question I asked them is this, that last year I visited Jamaica. And even though I'm Nigerian, but I live in Europe. But after I visited Jamaica, and then I visited Mexico. Dear gentlemen and women, I want to say, I can now see why America will never be secure, no matter how much wars. I didn't use the word wars those days. I just say America will never be secure. So they said, why? Make your point, sir. I said, well, the reason is because I live in Europe, and in Europe, as I noticed something, as soon as communism fell, in 10 years, the development of Russia and Ukraine and former Soviet Union and Hungary and Poland and Bulgaria, all these eastern countries, they were in dark communism. They were in the black communism. They were like down in the hole of communism before the wall fell. But as soon as the wall fell, all these European countries, they moved in. They moved into Eastern Europe, and Eastern Europe became one. I mean, Eastern Germany became one with Western Germany. You will not see the difference almost. Then they also moved further and helped develop. They brought investments in, even to their arch enemy, who is Russia. They still brought it so much that right now you will not see a big gap between Eastern and Western Europe. All of them have enough amenities, enough infrastructure, enough food to eat, enough to survive, development to survive. I mean, from where they were, because I've been here for 30 years. I know the difference. And what shocked me is that what Russia, Ukraine, and all these Eastern European countries got from Europe in 5 years is more than what Africa got in 50 years.
Wow.
What they get in 1 year is more than what we get in 20 years. They just came because they see, they see Europe as their mainland, as one territory. And they say, if we don't develop them, they will come over here and overtake us. So they are saying, even though they are communists, these people are atheists, these people are their enemies, so to say, but they are still seeing them as their brothers. But Africa and all that, they just treated us as, we are okay here, so they will not disturb us. Just only those ones who are able to escape to come here. So I said, but when I never expected what I saw in the American continent. So I was telling them, you share the same continent with Mexico. And Mexicans are running here and, by boat, crossing the border and illegally going through all, they are ready to die, to just cross over. But you are always thinking in America that how to secure our border, That is callous. That is treacherous. That is wickedness. Instead of you talking about doing what Europe did, why don't you say, okay, let's extend our prosperity and civilization and our blessing to the whole continent? How can Jamaica be 1 hour from you, flight from Miami, 1 hour, and Jamaica is like Africa? How can Haiti be 1 hour from America, from 1 hour? This is like from here to Kiev, 1 hour flight.
And it's like a completely different
And it's like in the third world. It's just like saying you are in Germany, and here will be like Africa, and you are on the same continent. That is wickedness. I said, you are only thinking about your own well-being. And when I hear about your elections, you are always arguing, the economy, or how to protect immigration, how to control this. You want to build your own heaven, so that every other person will live in hell and you don't care. That hell will get to you. Either you like it or you don't like it, or that hell will find its way to you.
On your territory.
It will encroach you. And those Mexicans, they will come and invade your land. And those Jamaicans and those Haitians, they will overwhelm. They will become majority one day. You mark my word.
Wow.
You will begin to speak Spanish one day.
Pastor, your prophecy is coming to pass already.
Yeah, I told them this 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And I said, this is the wickedness of our Western world. So when we look at, that's why I say, we need China. And the rise of China is because of the betrayal of Western world. Because we were closer to the Western world. We served them as our masters. We got independent from them, but we maintain relationship with them. But they let us down. They don't care for us. So you know what the people, Then 5 people spoke. One of them was a senator. 4 of them were senators. One of them was, the president. So you know what the explanation they gave me for my argument? They said, "You are very, very right." They said, "We are very right." He said, "I would have liked to." Most of them said. The first one who said, "I would have liked to answer you in a politically correct way, but you made such a strong argument that it is impossible for us to answer you in a politically correct manner." And he went on to say, even you are talking about Europe. He said, the reason why, he said, even right now, we are senators, we are presidents. He said, he spoke of himself, I have Irish descent. I'm of Irish descent. Yes, I'm of Irish descendants. The other one spoke, I said, I'm Scottish descendant. But even though we are on another continent, you are talking about Europe and Africa, because you are still far, right? But we are even also far from Europe. But do you think if we want to consider big investments, like trillions, billions of investments, do you think we are going to be thinking about Mexico? No, we'll think about Ireland. We'll think about Scotland. We'll think about Germany. Because that's where we come from. Even though we don't have any contact with them today, we don't have any family relationship, but we just intuitively feel ourselves as connected to Europe more. We see ourselves as Europeans. And the Jews among us see themselves, they don't see themselves connected more to Mexicans, they see themselves connected to Israel. They see themselves as Jews. So if the Jews in America, who have a large portion of the finances there, if they want to invest, you think they're going to think about Jamaica?
They're going to Israel.
They are going to Israel. So he told me, let me just tell you, it's not going to be politically correct, but this is what happened. He said, but, another one spoke and said, but, Mr. Senator, let me say this. Will you agree, they themselves were talking this, that our most faithful allies sometimes are not Europeans, but Africans. They said the least problems we have is with African governments. They always support American policies. When you go to the United Nations, sometimes European nations will vote against our proposals. Even sometimes the allies, Scandinavian countries will vote against sometimes. Sometimes even Germany will vote against. So only England is always constant. But most of the other countries are always voting against our policies. But Africans are always voting majorly in support of us. America. But why don't we think of helping them too? It just doesn't work that way. When you go to the Senate or the Congress, we're only thinking more of just giving peanuts help to them. But we are not thinking about making them independent or develop or grow like us. And they said we have to think about that. That's just what they told me. But Jamaica, that is a shame. They admitted that it's really a shame that Jamaica is just 1 hour from the United States and it's like 2 worlds. That Mexico is just 1 hour. I mean, less than 1 hour away from even by drive, and it's yet, they are like third world. That they said we admit it's a shame, but another one said America is capitalist society. We think about ourselves first. But then they also confessed. They forgot that the other one has confessed that we are thinking ourselves more as Europeans. They let us down. Britain would think more about America as part of them, as for Australia, than Africa.
But Pastor, why is it that Africans, we are not placing a demand on them? For example, why don't we say, if we're going to vote with you as our friends in the United Nations, these are our requests? Because
if we don't vote, okay, for example, recently, the permanent representative of America in the United Nations came out and said, we want to move our capital, the capital of America from Jerusalem, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. If you don't vote for us, there will be consequences. Even though everybody knows that it's going to be conflict, it's going to lead to conflict, but the guy told them, so if you don't vote for us,
they come after you.
Yeah, we are going after you because we have money and we have weapons. That's exactly what they go and look out for it in the internet. So when you are weak, you don't play demands on people who are strong. It is the people who are strong who place demands.
Who dictate to you how things would go.
That's the way our world runs.
But Pastor, that means that we're headed for a very dangerous future, because the Chinese are communist.
Yes.
They are not benevolent.
No, I've not spoken. I've only spoken from the point of view of
why we need the Chinese.
Yeah, why we need the Chinese. But I've not spoken as to the problem with Chinese and how to resolve the problem with Chinese.
Okay.
That is the second part of my idea. But maybe you wanted to comment before I go ahead.
No, what you're saying is exactly correct. And at the end of the day, Africa would always go to where they're going to get help from.
Yes.
They're always going to look to whoever is offering the help.
Now you understand why we are in China, why we are with Chinese.
And just like you told them 12 years ago, based on what you saw, that they were not even seeing. Right now, we have a caravan of over 10,000 people from Honduras, from Guatemala, that are headed to the US. And they said, we're going to come and crash your border. And Trump is saying, I'm putting the military and we're going to stop them. And even more caravans are coming up. Right now, I think they have 3 different caravans.
Woo! And that is making the same point that I made 12 years ago.
So if they had started taking civilization to these people who are their neighbors, they wouldn't have had this kind of invasion that they're having.
Exactly what I meant, sir.
And when most of them are asked, why are you going to America? They say, because my country has no jobs. My country is not safe. I am in danger and I want to go and make a better life for myself.
Because it is safer for the West to share the wealth, the commonwealth of the world, with the other side of the world, not thinking that we are okay and we just want to win election. And because most of the Western politicians just want to win election, they are looking at the short-term gain for themselves. We need to do something to make the salary of our people better, to make them to live. They are not considering how worse other people are living. Even Obama, who is supposed to be a black man, he didn't do anything for the third world Africa. He did something, but not much to change their destiny and fortune. He didn't understand this perspective.
Okay, Pastor, please, let's go over to what China is offering us now and how to take care of ourselves so that we don't become, we don't have to speak Mandarin in the next 30 years. Let's just to put it mildly.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I have a choice, I will tell my son and my daughters to go and learn Mandarin. And the reason for that is because if China is a population of almost 2 billion people, or is it over? Almost 2 billion people.
1.5, thereabouts.
Okay, and we only have 7 billion in the world. So you tell me.
Pastor, are you telling us the future is Chinese?
Yes. I'm just trying to say that already you have 25% or 20% of the world, 20% of the world speaking Chinese.
Yeah, Mandarin is already the most spoken language in the world.
You see?
So by Spanish, like you told them in America.
You see?
And English is third.
I would rather shift my camp when it's possible to shift it. I would rather tell my children to learn Chinese because it's the most popularly spoken language in the world. And besides that, it is also, 1 out of every 5 people in the world is going to be speaking Chinese.
Wow. And
if one of every 5 people in the world is speaking Chinese, what am I doing not speaking it? You tell me.
Wow.
The only thing that is saving us right now is that the Chinese have not been let out of their borders en masse, like free immigration. Once that happens, we will be having them like cockroaches and ants everywhere. You know, you cannot get rid of cockroaches and ants.
No, you can't.
No matter the chemicals you buy.
Once they come in,
you have to speak the language. You have to learn that language. So
you mean South Africa is ahead by making Mandarin one of their official languages?
Well, it seems to me that somebody out there might be thinking.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are right now. Thanks to what we've been doing for the past few years that has not worked, we are going to be speaking Chinese. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. the future is Mandarin. Their language has 3,000 characters. So get studying.
3,000 characters.
Yes, English has 24. They have 3,000. That's why they are far intellectually ahead of us. So ladies and gentlemen, the earlier you join the winning band, the better, according to Pastor Sunday. I would still like to hold out hope that we will not give up our sovereignty. But from all indications, it looks like we're headed there. So Pastor, please go ahead and tell us what we can do, or how we can at least help ourselves not to not to be completely taken over. Or are we completely hopeless at this point?
Well, very good question. Когда мы вдвоем, куда мне смотреть? Когда мы вдвоем? Всегда сюда, все время сюда. So what should we do concerning China? What should we do concerning China? First of all, like I said, we need China. Secondly, like I said, the inevitability of China is provoked by the failure of the West. So how do we resolve this dilemma? Every war that was fought in the Bible was not fought because of religion, as in today's world. Most of the wars in today's world is fought because of religion. But in the Bible, there was another reason for 90% of the wars that were fought. Almost basically all the wars that were fought in the Bible. And that war, all the wars that were fought, they had one reason for the wars. And that's why we need to go to the Bible to learn principles of nation building. When you go to the Bible, you will see that all wars were fought for the reason of land. Land.
Conquering territory.
Territory. Conquering territories. Well, that's exactly what made Great Britain great today. That's what made the West what they are today. And I guess Chinese are learning. I guess they are learning.
Wow.
So they are expanding their territory because they are limited in their own territory, in their own country, and they know that the wars, the ultimate war of life is the war of territories and land. That's why when God spoke to the children of Israel, by the way, if you have not yet shared this message yet, I think it might be a good idea for you to go share the message at this time. Share, because especially if you have burden for Africa. This is going to be one of the most popular messages, one of the most popular programs, shows we are going to be having. So, the reason why when God spoke, Jehovah God, Elohim, when God called Abraham, I don't know if you remember that God didn't promise him money. And God didn't promise him clothes. You know what he promised him? A land. He said he was going to take him to a land that he will show to him. Land, territory. That is also conquest, my dear. Conquest. And then look at every war that Israel has ever fought. It is the war of territory, over territories. So when God even delivered them from Egypt, they were always fighting and displacing one nation after the other. So when you go to Israel of old, if you are a foreigner, the land is not divided to you.
It's only for the Israelites.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You cannot buy the land. Because that is what God gave. I will give you a land that is flowing with land. So God led them to that land, and it is not permitted. They were divided among the tribes of Israel only. So for us to secure Africa, one policy that every African nation must adopt is foreigners can lease land, foreigners can rent land, foreigners can use land, but foreigners can never buy land for good, forever. That's, you can give them a lease for 100 years, you can give them a rent, you can give them, occupation for some time, but never own. That is the way to secure ourselves from China.
So that means
number one.
We can send them packing whenever we feel like. And we're in control of our destiny, our resources.
And the lease will expire.
Expire.
Sooner or later. You tell me what made America who they are right now, and what made the red Americans, the indigenous Americans. Why are they so weak? Why are they so weak? And they are voiceless in their own land. They gave up their land. They gave up their land. Why is it that all of Latin America speaks Spanish today? They gave up their land.
So once you give up your land,
you are dispossessed. You are no more a nation. That's why when God was punishing Israel, the highest level of punishment is to displace them, remove them from the land. That's the highest level of punishment. And that's why the highest level of fulfillment of prophecy in the Bible is to return them again to the land. It's not possible. Because to return you again to the land, normally land is, wars are fought for lands. In fact, have you heard the word empire?
Yes.
The reason why the empire is used is the stronger nation that goes to conquer other land. But God, for him to, in the world, when people are conquering lands, to say, I will take you and bring you back, it's impossible. That's why it's a miracle.
And that was why God told Joshua, wherever you tread your feet upon, I have given it to you. The land is yours.
And let me tell you another one. You all know the story of Moses when God appeared to him in the burning bush. And God said, the land where you upon which you stand, yes,
it's holy ground.
Is holy ground. Remove your sandals. Now there is a significance there. Because in Israel, you wear shoes only when you are a landowner or a property owner. Wow. Slaves never wore shoes. Because if you wear shoes to my territory, when you get to my house, you have to remove your shoes. That's in Israel, original Israel. When you enter my house, that's why the Eastern people, some of them still practice that up to today. When they enter to your house, you come to visit me, you enter, before you enter to my room, to my place, you have to remove, you take off your shoes.
That's respecting my territory.
No, you are smart. You are smart. That is saying, I recognize your lordship and ownership over this territory. I am not the owner here. You are the owner.
So it's not about the carpet.
It's about the land. So people are talking about carpet. And it's and it's not about the fire as well. So it's not the fire. What God was trying to tell Moses is, just like you will remove your shoes when you go visit a landowner in another man's territory and recognize his lordship, so I tell you to remove your shoes, thereby submitting the lordship of this territory and of over your life to me, and saying you recognize the lordship of the Lord of Lords. That is what was happening. You here are my possession. You are not a lord here.
You're under my jurisdiction.
You are under my jurisdiction. So that's what it's calling of land, the land upon which you stand. So God is making a statement. Even God sees land as something special. That's why I said the land upon which you stand. So for you now to allow other people, other nations to come and possess your land, it's just like saying you, the landowner, is the one that has removed his shoes. And that is why when Jesus was about to wash the feet of his disciples, they were stopping him for a reason. And the reason they were stopping him is that a lord and a master does not wash the feet of the slave, because the slaves don't wear shoes. They, rather, the slaves and the servants, they are supposed to wash the feet of the master. So by so doing, Jesus has shown the highest honor possible. Because he is the one that owns everything. And he decided to become a slave to them. They understood what he was talking about. That's why he said, when you are a leader, do the same to other people. A leader, remove your own shoes and serve them like a slave. It's not saying about feet washing service. No.
It was just a figure of...
It's a figurative speech. And let me go further there. If you read if you have read your Bible very well, you might also discover that there was an incident that looks very confusing in the book of Ruth. When you see Naomi, and Naomi told Ruth, the daughter-in-law, and after she had gone to walk on the field of Boaz, and after she also had discovered that Boaz is the next of kin to Ruth, and he has the right to now, adopt her as the wife. Noemi did something very strange indeed. He told the girl and said, go ahead and follow Boaz and notice him and go to the place where he's lying down, while he's sleeping. And by the time you discover where he's sleeping, go and lay yourself down at the feet of the man that is sleeping. Now, when you read that, if you don't understand the Israeli Jewish culture and tradition, you will think that the old woman was telling her to go sleep with the man and have an adulterous affair. Far from it. That's not what was happening. But and the way she slept is that he is sleeping like this. So he's lying this way, and these are his feet. Let's assume these are his feet. These are where his legs are. His head is here, his feet is here. So at the end of the feet,
horizontally.
So she is lying like this at the end of the feet, so that when she stands, for example, like under, that is the highest wisdom that is demonstrated there. That I belong to you by tradition. So when the man woke up and saw a woman laying there, he knew that, okay, there is something higher than just a woman coming to lay here accidentally. He knows that, okay, I didn't know. Tell me, why am I the heir?
She submitted herself.
She submitted herself to his lordship. You are my master, Lord. That's why Sarah called Abraham Lord at the feet of... So land, if you want to resolve the problem of Africa, land is very important. Why? Because feet means possession, dominion. So when you remove shoes, you are dispossessed. But when you wear wherever the sole of your feet are tread upon, that is why they have to go and lie down. Wherever the sole of your feet are tread upon, you possess it. It signifies possession, dominion, ownership. So when God told him, remove your shoes, this is a holy land, it means remove your shoes, you are not having possession here.
This land doesn't belong to me.
That's what we need to apply for.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are building a new Africa. And our land is the most important thing. And Pastor has given us a revolutionary idea. Pastor, I don't think I've heard this anywhere, and I don't think these ideas are being exchanged anywhere else in the world. Probably. Well,
you provoked this program. Somewhere. You said you are going to hold the program, so you get it.
Pastor, all about change.
This is number one. This is just the first one. This is the maiden one.
This is just the maiden edition, ladies and gentlemen. It's only going to get better. Somebody needs to sponsor a bill in Nigeria and in Africa and in every nation that would make it a crime for any indigene to sell land to a foreigner. We need to begin to protect ourselves from being colonized. We need to protect our land. And also, Pastor, from what you just said, I think I'll start buying a lot more land than cars and houses.
Now you are very smart. You are very smart.
Because if I'm going to be able to secure my future and the future of my nation,
now you are talking.
I need land. And land will only appreciate.
Land is more important than buildings. Land is more important than house, than cars. Land is more important than anything.
Lands are more important than private jets, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, land is very important. If anybody has wisdom, I just had a dream 2 days ago. I'm insulted this way. I just had a dream 2 days ago that where I was provoked in the dream to teach the Christians of Nigeria to buy off 20% of the whole territory of the country. Just keep it.
Pastor,
I just keep it.
2 weeks ago, I was doing some research and I was looking into the wealthiest people in the world. And I got an idea from them. What they are all doing, Pastor, the Germans, especially the wealthiest people in Europe, they are buying forest.
That's what I'm saying.
That is the investment that they are making today. And I was telling a friend, I said, suddenly I have a vision to buy all the land in my village because I want to have every single thing in that place secured.
And what I'm saying by 20%, I'm thinking by the grace of God, the Nigerian church will not listen to me, but the people who follow me, my disciples, I am my disciples.
Pastor, I'm following you already.
Control that 20% of that whole country. And by the time you do that, you don't need to begin to ask who is the president or who. You'll be giving birth to them.
Yeah, that's true.
Just put that one in the pocket.
Pastor, action plan. My fellow Africans. The action plan from this idea is sponsor a bill. Talk to your House of Representatives, your senators, your governors. Tell them to secure the land of your nation. Let it be passed into law that land can only be leased, land can only be rented out, land can only be given out, but it can never be sold.
For use.
For use. And that way, we would have a secured Africa and we would not be colonized. Even if we're speaking Mandarin, at least we'll be speaking it on our own soil.
Yeah.
And we will not become slaves in our own land.
Yes.
So, Pastor, I am with you already. I don't know of the rest of you listening to me. Please share this video and help someone secure the future of Africa. Secure the future of your family. Secure the future of this land that God has given to us. And I believe that as we take steps to securing our future, we will have every cause to celebrate 20, 50, 100 years from now. 300 years from now, Pastor, when you're long gone. Yes. I believe this idea would really help to secure Africa and to bring forth the new Africa that we want to see. So I'm already taking, I don't know if anybody from my state is hearing me, but I'm coming.
But they don't know what state now.
They shouldn't worry.
Okay, they will find out.
They will read about it.
They will find out.
In the news.
They will hear the news.
All right, Pastor.
Well, let me give you another one secret how African can secure themselves from the Chinese invasion. Also from the Bible. There is a statement that was made by one of the great men of the Bible. And when we talk, but we only use it, the church people, the Christian people have reduced this to tithe and offering issues. You remember the statement when one great man, and you know the great man said, no, I will not take what you are giving me so that it will not be said.
That you made me rich.
That you made me who I am. Who said
Isaac?
No, not Isaac.
Abraham. All right.
With Melchizedek. You remember the story of Melchizedek and Abraham. It's always about tithe and offering. And let them be fighting about tithe and offering. Well,
we'll be owning the land.
Yeah, that is their own choice. But the one of the greatest wisdom in that history of Melchizedek is not about tithe and offering. And the nugget wisdom in that statement is that never receive anything ever for free.
There should always be an exchange.
You are very smart. Never receive anything for free. Even if you get the thing for free, make sure you go another road and come back and let's say they give you $1,000 and you say thank you, you got it for free, right? But the next day or 2 days later, go and look for something, a cloth. Maybe it's not worth that, but look for something and compensate and just say, I also always do that.
Why?
Oh, good. Why? You have already answered, because anybody that gives you things for free continuously and you take and you are not giving back, you become the slave to that person. That is another conquest that China has brought to Africa. So the reason why they are able to take over countries like Djibouti and Zambia, Zimbabwe, and they are taking over because our people are taking free lunch.
We think it's blessing.
We think, yes, because that's what we like. We want people to give us things for free, for nothing. So, for example, how did the Chinese do it? They come to you and say, you come to them and say, we want to build this bridge or factory. And they say it will cost you 600 million. Then you say, we don't have the money. They say, okay, we will loan you. But you never allow anybody to loan you everything you need. Because when they say, you say it's 600 million that is necessary, never take 600 million from them. Say, for example, take half. Take loan only for the half. Or only for 40%. Make sure that your stake is higher than the stake of the president. Because a borrower is a slave to the lender. So before you become slave, make sure anything you are borrowing is less than what you possess in your hand. So, but our people will say, they will say, we don't have money for the infrastructure, we don't have money for the bridge. They will say, okay, we'll loan you everything. So it's 600 million, they give you the whole 600 million. On the premise of that, then they will tell you, since we are giving everything, if you default, they possess it. That's how they begin to possess it.
And Africans default.
Yes, and they default, of course. Because you have made the mistake of doing what Abraham said I will never do.
Pastor, can I add to that with one of the concepts in Money Will Make You Rich?
Yes, sir.
Come up with a plan, a contingency plan.
Yes.
And a contingency plan for the contingency plan on how to pay back a loan before you get it.
Oh, beautiful.
Before you allow anybody give you a loan,
3 backup plans.
Have at least 3 backup plans of how you are going to pay that loan back in a stipulated time. If the Chinese are giving us a 10-year plan for when we're going to pay back the loan, we should have a plan of how to pay back in 5 years.
Or even in 3 years.
Or in 3 years. If plan 1 or plan A fails, we have plan B. If that fails, we have plan C. So we end up not being slaves.
Yes.
Thank you, Pastor.
So that's why when anybody gives me anything, I always have to give them. I remain top. But in our continent, we think it's a good thing to always receive everything for free.
So, Pastor, it was not just out of the kindness of your heart.
No. It's a matter of principle and knowledge and understanding, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we are building a new Africa. It takes a civilized people to build a civilized continent. And these are the ideas that are going to bring us from where we are to where we want to be. And I believe very strongly that if we use these principles and we follow them judiciously, we will come out as champions. Because we can see Pastor Sunday right here. He's a champion and he's training us and leading us in the path that we should follow. So please share this video. Let's hope that one of our leaders in Africa would see this clip or see this show and begin to apply these things. Because without application, it's going to be like what's happening to America right now. Pastor told them 12 years ago, you would be invaded. They didn't listen to him. They said, oh, he's just another young black man from Europe full of vibrancy and passion. But it's happening today. Already in America, Pastor, 22 million illegal immigrants. If we're not going to end up like America, looking back and saying, had we known, we would have done better. We have to take steps from today. So please write petitions, talk to somebody. We must secure our land.
And I must also say that I am sitting down here, not just doing nothing about what is happening with our continent and Africans. I am putting together my own strategy and plans and projects so that if it gets to the worst, I'm having my own plans of buying out Chinese. I will not talk about that here, so that I will be able to live long.
Like you said, gentle as a dove, wise as a serpent.
Yes. So, but I'm also working on that. So I'm getting ready for Africa, and I'm working on different dimensions.
We have to be strategic if we're going to build a new Africa. So thank you very much for that answer, Pastor. So we're going to go to the third point. I don't think we're going to be able to get through all that we planned for today. But ladies and gentlemen, this is just the maiden edition. This is going to come to you every Thursday. You're going to be hearing revolutionary, original, insightful ideas, practical ideas of how we can build a new continent. The talking and the praying and the prophesying is enough. It's time for us to start taking practical steps to accomplishing the things that we have been told by God that we can accomplish, or accomplishing the things that we can see in Europe, we can see in North America. And I believe it's possible. The third thing, Pastor, it's connected to what you just talked about.
Okay.
In South Africa right now, there is a land grab that is taking place.
Wow.
There is a certain party that is radically killing the Caucasians in South Africa. And they are taking their land. And the Human Rights Commission is crying out. The whites are crying out. I feel sympathy for them, but with your explanation now, I'm beginning to understand a little differently. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the bloodshed though. But I can understand where those who are going for the land are coming from. What can we do to mitigate this situation? Because I don't believe that bringing about another genocide is exactly the solution to the problem that South Africa has today. So how can we solve this problem that South Africa is facing, where a group of people want to violently take over the land of other people who were not necessarily slave owners? They bought those lands. I've listened to some interviews of people who said, I paid for this land, I've been farming on it for 30, 50 years, and I don't see why I should give it up. What do you think can be done?
Well, the thing that we're seeing, which you just spoke about very brilliantly, is that what we're seeing in South Africa right now is exactly what happens when you begin to sell your land. Consequences. So what we're seeing in Africa right now is not informed by knowledge, for knowledge. Like I said, don't sell. But they already did that. Or they've given up their land and they're feeling like slaves. And that is why the pain is pushing them. It is now consequences, we are saying. The pain is pushing them to react. And the reaction is always violent and bad and worse than, action, proactive actions. So how can we solve that question? Let's start with South Africa. South Africa, under Madiba, that is Nelson Mandela, showed and taught the world a lesson in forgiveness. When they did the reconciliation roundtable, and they made people, instead of killing and condemning and retaliating, they allowed the white oppressors, the apartheid executioners, to come forward and repent and confess, and the blacks and everybody asked for forgiveness. That's a great, great lesson that the world has learned from South Africa, and it has helped also Rwanda, and it's helping other countries up to today. To resolve the problem of South Africa, I will advise that they still use that strategy to resolve the problem of the land crisis and land issue. But what is happening in South Africa is very shameful. If you go to South Africa, I've been there many times, you will find out that you see a metropolitan city like New York or like London or like Germany, like any Cape Town, but it's as good as in Europe. It's as good as in America. But then at the outskirts of those cities, you will see shanks or shacks or whatever they call them.
Bachas.
They call them something. I think they call them shacks or shacks.
Yeah, shacks.
Shanties. Shanties.
This tent building.
Yes. Horrible scenario. Horrible just looking at it. You are seeing skyscrapers just now, and you went out of the city, you are seeing human beings, and all of them are black. Squatting all over the ground and like animals, like cattle. Under that kind of circumstance, it's a miracle that the black people will have so much patience for so long before they started grabbing. If it had happened in Nigeria, they would have grabbed earlier on. More violent in Nigeria. But because it's violence and because it's reaction, and it also always brings about consequences, I would design a method of resolving the question this way. I will use the same wisdom of reconciliation, of peaceful solution to the land issue problem. So we are going to sit down and we are going to do an inventory of all the lands that are white owned. And we are going to ask all the white owners to produce certificate of ownership and how much was paid for the land. Because the black people have been dispossessed. Most of them don't have the same land. So show us that it was bought, but for most of them it was not bought. Or it was not bought at the market value. It was grabbed by their forefathers. They just inherited it. Or they bought them from other white people. But the black people were never beneficiaries. That is what we want to readdress. So since the white population, minority, are also South Africans, it is going to be evil to dispossess them of land if they were not South Africans, because they are now South Africans. So what I would rather discuss is the possibility of the people who never paid for the land that they possess. For example, some of them have 500 hectares. Some of them have 1,000 hectares. Some of them have 20,000 acres. So all these ones, we have to say, can you pay corresponding amount of money at the cost of today? If you cannot, then that is the one we will take. The ones that were grabbed, we will take them back. Go and buy if you have money. Or go and buy from these black people that will be receiving them now. Go and buy them now at the normal time. Those ones that are grabbed. But those ones that were bought, we will not. We will let those people who paid real, normal market value price for it at the time, we will let them remain. But the ones who grabbed, those ones are the ones we will collect.
Wow. Okay.
And then distribute by community by community. Okay. And then they could now go and buy, if they want, from their own fellow citizens, only they are black.
Okay. Pastor, I have another question. Why or how would they solve the problem of famine? Because Mugabe tried to do something like that.
Famine?
Yes.
Okay.
In Zimbabwe.
Yes.
He drove out the farmers who were responsible for most of the food production in the country.
Yes.
And they ended up starving.
Yes.
Now, South Africa is headed for that same place because these people who they are disposing, they are the people who supply the food for the nation.
Yes.
And the people who are getting these lands don't have the same level of expertise that these people who they are displacing have.
Yes.
So how would they be able to sustain themselves in such a way that even when the land is taken, okay, if we, like you said, when it has been determined that the land was grabbed, how do we stop ourselves from running into problems trying to solve one other problem, which is hunger, in the name of trying to,
bring equality,
bring about equality?
Well, if you, maybe I need to break down my answer. In that my answer, I envisage that as well. So let's say a land is grabbed 200 years ago, but it's like 2,000 acres of land or something big, and the famine is there, is supplying the nation, no problem. But the right of ownership will be withdrawn. Not the same thing as happened in Zimbabwe. Okay. In Zimbabwe, they just drove out the people, beat them up, and just ordinary people went and took over. No, but what we are talking about here, the ownership is what will be withdrawn. So the ownership will now, for example, belong to that community, but the people who run it
will still keep running it.
Yeah, they are still running their company. But only the right of ownership, which means they are paying, just like you are paying rent upon this house, or if you are living in this house, that's how you are paying the rent. You keep on your work.
All right.
No conflict.
So they don't drive them out. They
just
keep
like
them there.
Yeah, just like we had in Nigeria with Shell paying compensation to the local people, but they are still working. If you pay, you are working. Yes.
All right. Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, this is just part A of the show that we had planned for today. We've not touched plan B, and the time is already up. We're going to continue next week, but please share this video with your friends. Invite others. Tell them Thursday same time next week. We're going to be here discussing original ideas. revolutionary ideas that are going to enhance our ability to build a new Africa. And Pastor is going to be here. You can count on it to give us more insights as to how we can build a new Africa. Please take action. Don't just sit back and say, well, there's not much I can do where I'm from. Pastor has told you, if you think you're smart, put those smarts into solving problems in your community. Multiply it in the next community. Multiply it in the state. Multiply it in the nation. Own lands. Make sure you push for legislation. Those that are in power, I believe some people in power should be watching us because we're giving them ideas of how to make things work in the country and in the continent. No matter where you're from on the African continent, land is important. And finally, peaceful resolution. Please, violence is never the answer. Those who were able to conquer the world did it through peace. The likes of Gandhi, Mandela, Jesus. Violence never solves the problem. So I believe that my South African brothers and sisters that are hearing me would be able to take these ideas to people who would put them into action. And I believe that together we'll be able to build a new Africa. So thank you for joining us today. I'm your host once again, Pastor Joshua Amatare, and Pastor and Dr. Sunday Adelaja has been our ever-present erudite and solution giver. Thank you very much for being with us today, Pastor.
Joshua, you've done a great job today. And before we go, I would like to challenge all of us to go and share the message. And before we go, I would also like to tell you that I wrote a book for Nigeria that is called The Diversity in Nigeria's The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity. The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity. Yes? The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity. So, okay, it's there. The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity. So that book, The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity, is one of the solution books that I'm offering for my country, because especially with this election going on now, a lot of, debate and a lot of arguments, a lot of bickets are happening, all kind of, hatred, anger. I think this book will be able to let us value ourselves more. We can actually say the beauty of Africa's diversity. So it's for all Africans as well. But for those of you who might not know, we are starting our HMT History Makers training next week here in Ukraine. So maybe you could still make it on the 4th, but maybe it's too late. But if you still want to jump in the train and come, or in the plane, write to hmt@godembassy.org. If not, for those of you who want to get my books, you can read them for free actually on Kindle Unlimited. But this book is being sold right now as a pre-order, just for $2 pre-order. And so by next week, by the 7th, or from the 7th or so of November, it's going to be more expensive, 3, 4, 5 times more expensive. So you can get it as a pre-order right now, but you can read my books for free, all of them, including this one, later on Kindle Unlimited. But if you want to buy the books, you can buy them on Amazon.com. But if you want to buy many books and at a cheaper rate, then I would advise you to write to us, to write to my office, write to dssbooks@gmail.com, dssbooks@gmail.com. If you want us to be sending you our messages on WhatsApp so that you don't need to waste or spend a lot of data, or send your number or the number of your family to us to +38 098 596 3838. And those of you who have not yet joined our mentorship program, you can go to sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Pastor Joshua Amatare, for this wonderful program. It's going to be revolutionary, and like he said, I believe that this program will live even long after we are gone, because we are going to be bringing solutions that will be evergreen and everlasting to be able to make our continent better. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. See you same time next week, Thursday. Till then, goodbye and God bless you. Take action.